they get disclosed, that is going to put me in a situation where I will have to withdraw from the case.
Okay.
If you disclose that information in any way, all of it needs to be destroyed now. But if you disclose it in any way, it's going to put me in a position where I will have to withdraw from the case. If you all choose to go on the internet and try to publicize this stuff, that's going to create real problems.
Okay.
You can't do it, is what I'm telling you. You cannot do it. I will have to withdraw from the case.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
All right.
So make sure everybody's aware of that. If any of that is posted anywhere on the internet, we're going to have problems. Whatever copies have been made of that, those need to be destroyed.
Okay.
Okay? If they get disclosed, that is going to put me in a situation where I will have to withdraw from the case.
Okay.
If you disclose that information in any way, all of it needs to be destroyed now. But if you disclose it in any way, it's going to put me in a position where I will have to withdraw from the case. If you all choose to go on the internet and try to publicize this stuff, that's going to create real problems.
Okay.
You can't do it, is what I'm telling you. You cannot do it. I will have to withdraw from the case.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
All right.
So make sure everybody's aware of that. If any of that is posted anywhere on the internet, we're going to have problems. Whatever copies have been made of that, those need to be destroyed.
Okay.
Okay? If they get disclosed, that is going to put me in a situation where I will have to withdraw from the case.
Okay.
If you disclose that information in any way, all of it needs to be destroyed now. But if you disclose it in any way, it's going to put me in a position where I will have to withdraw from the case. If you all choose to go on the internet and try to publicize this stuff, that's going to create real problems.
Okay.
You can't do it, is what I'm telling you. You cannot do it. I will have to withdraw from the case.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
All right.
So make sure everybody's aware of that. Okay. If any of that is posted anywhere on the internet, we're going to have problems. Whatever copies have been made of that, those need to be destroyed.
Okay.
Okay. We're going to have problems. Whatever copies have been made of that, those need to be destroyed.
Okay.
Okay? If they get disclosed, that is going to put me in a situation where I will have to withdraw from the case.
Okay.
If you disclose that information in any way, all of it needs to be destroyed now. But if you disclose it in any way, it's going to put me in a position where I will have to withdraw from the case. If you all choose to go on the internet and try to publicize this stuff, that's going to create real problems.
Okay.
You can't do it, is what I'm telling you. You cannot do it. I will have to withdraw from the case.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
All right.
So make sure everybody's aware of that. Okay. If any of that is posted anywhere on the internet, we're going to have problems. Whatever copies have been made of that, those need to be destroyed.
Okay.
Okay? If they get disclosed, that is going to put me in a situation where I will have to withdraw from the case.
Okay.
If you disclose that information in any way, all of it needs to be destroyed now. But if you disclose it in any way, it's going to put me in a position where I will have to withdraw from the case. If you all choose to go on the internet and try to publicize this stuff, that's going to create real problems.
Okay.
You can't do it, is what I'm telling you. You cannot do it. I will have to move to withdraw from the case.
Okay. All right.
Okay?
All right.
So make sure everybody's aware of that. Okay? If any of that is posted anywhere on the internet, we're going to have problems. Whatever copies have been made of that, those need to be destroyed.
Okay.
Okay? If they get disclosed, that is going to put me in a situation where I will have to withdraw from the case.
Okay.
If you disclose that information in any way, all of it needs to be destroyed now. But if you disclose it in any way, it's going to put me in a position where I will have to withdraw from the case. If you all choose to go on the internet.
This is not another boring podcast. Mustafa through the police body cam. Judge Carol Weimer, you are under the microscope. Today's podcast is going to be a very interesting podcast. Today we're going to ask the question, why is the Mustafa Al-Jazari case sealed? We're going to hear from the prosecutor. We're going to take you into the courtroom, and we're going to listen to what the prosecutor Sarah Sammy, is telling Judge Weimer, and why is she sealing the Mustafa Al-Jazari case. We're going to find out, is she lying to Judge Weimer on why she wants this case sealed? Does Judge Weimer know and is entertaining prosecutor Sarah Sammy lying to him about why the Mustafa Al-Jazari case sealed? We're going to find out if behind closed doors they're only sealing Mustafa's case, it's because this case is falsified. What prosecutor Sarah Sammy, and we're going to read the transcript. We're going to get into the transcript. Prosecutor Sarah Sammy tell Judge Carol Weimer the reason that the Mustafa Al-Jazari case is sealed is because there's a 5-year-old baby that died in a vehicle accident. She's telling him, because of the baby, we're going to have to seal the Mustafa Al-Jazari case. I find it really interesting that the same prosecutor that's telling Judge Carol Weimer we have to seal the Mustafa Al-Jazari case because of 5-year-old Empress, because there's a dash camera inside the vehicle where a 5-year-old baby, we have to seal this dash camera. But then turns around and release an edited version of a dash camera that shows 5-year-old Empress on that dash camera. And the question is this prosecutor sealing the dash camera to protect the 5-year-old baby, or is it something else? Now, what if I tell you this prosecutor releases the dash camera, so obviously she doesn't care, and that she's not being honest with Judge Carol Weimer, the presiding judge. Judge Carol Weimer knows that she released the dash camera, but yet still has the Mustafa Al-Jazari case sealed. So there's something else. There's something else why they're sealing the Mustafa Al-Jazari case. On this podcast, we're going to find out why they're sealing the Mustafa Al-Jazari case. And we're going to find out that the reason they're sealing the Mustafa Al-Jazari case is because they falsified the Mustafa Al-Jazari case. They don't want to release the full dash camera. They'll release an edited version of a dash camera. Because if you release the full dash camera, it's going to show that this is a car accident. They'll release an edited version of a dash camera for you. And they'll hide behind, there's a 5-year-old baby. And when you see the full dash camera, you'll realize that this is a car accident. We're going to find out why they're sealing this dash camera. And what you're going to find, and what we're going to show on this podcast, is the foundation of this whole entire case is falsified. All the way down to the warrant. the arrest warrant. Why was Mustafa arrested? Is there evidence that this is not a car accident? I mean, they're telling you this is not a car accident, that Mustafa intentionally crashed the vehicle. What if I tell you that they're sealing this case and they're hiding the body cams and the documents is because evidence showed that this is a car accident? And unfortunately for prosecutor Sarah Sammy, unfortunately for this county, I've hacked their server. I stole the file that they sealed. So we can sit here on this podcast and litigate and find out why this county is sealing off Mustafa's file. And we can prove that this county, this prosecutor, the only reason they're hiding this file and they're sealing the Mustafa Al-Jazari case is because they falsified it. And there's evidence that they don't want you to find out that this is a car accident. We're going to examine Robert Drum's warrant. We're going to put the arrest warrant under a microscope. And what we're going to find, evidence that show Robert Drum, not only did he falsify Mustafa's statement, he falsified the arrest warrant. And if Robert Drum falsified the arrest warrant, you can file a motion to dismiss and dismiss the whole entire case, because what you're talking about, not only that you have evidence that show this is a car accident, you falsified the arrest warrant. The reason that Mustafa sits in jail is because Robert Drum went to a magistrate and he lied to a magistrate. We're going to read the warrant line by line, and we're going to see what Robert Drum told the magistrate. And did Robert Drum, based on the body cam that I stole from the county, did Robert Drum lie to the magistrate to obtain an arrest warrant? And is there evidence that this is a car accident?
Morning, Chief.
Morning. Just grabbing a little H2O before the next briefing. You know, a lot of good conversations start right here at this cooler. Keeps the department running and hydrated. Now,
Chief, we have a problem.
what's going on?
The Mustafa brothers. One of them got into evidence storage, took the Redfield file.
You're sure?
Caught him on the cameras 10 minutes ago.
Damn it.
Detective Forrester's been trying to track him since.
He knew exactly what he wanted. Folder was gone when I came back from the
All
lab.
right, lock down the exits.
We've lost another body cam node. Pull up the feed.
Found him. It's Mustafa, brother. He has the cams.
Lock down the servers. Now!
He's already inside.
Turn. This is for you, Agent Doyle. Full clip. Don't let them bury it.
Garcia, it's Reed. I need a location on Mustafa, brother, now.
Brought him on a ride-share trace, heading south on East Street, plate ending 068.
Sending coordinates now.
Copy that. Keep the feet up.
I'm moving. Garcia, it's Reed. I need a location on Mustafa, brother, now.
The broadcast talk to me.
Rideshare just dropped him downtown. He's heading for a studio called FM Wave. Copy that. Put eyes on the block and lock it down. Whatever you do, don't let him air that file on his podcast. Units are en route.
If any of that is posted anywhere on the internet, we're going to have problems. Whatever copies have been made of that, those need to be destroyed.
Okay.
Okay? If they get disclosed, that is going to put me in a situation where I will have to withdraw.
This is not another boring podcast. Mustafa through the police body cam. Judge Carol Weimer, you are under the microscope. I stole a file from this county. I've hacked the server for the police department with the help of certain individual within the police department. And now I can put the presiding judge under a microscope. Even though he sealed the Mustafa Al-Jazari case, I have their file that they've hid for over 3 years now, where I can take Judge Carol Weimer, put him under a microscope, look at the body cams, look at the document, and get to the bottom of whether this judge is impartial in the Mustafa Al-Jazari case. Now, what I want to do, I want to find out, why is this case sealed? Why is the Mustafa Al-Jazari case sealed? I mean, last time I checked, this is a car accident. The county tell you it's not a car accident. Evidence show that this is a car accident. We should be able to go to court and litigate this in court. Instead, what you have is Mustafa that's sitting in solitary confinement for over 3 years, and the county is denying Mustafa a trial. Mustafa's been sitting in solitary for over 3 years now without a trial. And the question is, why? Are they terrified to go to court? I'll tell you, the minute that Mustafa goes to trial, they're going to have to dismiss the whole entire case. Because evidence showed that they falsified a whole entire case. Now let's go into the transcript and find out what is Prosecutor Sarah Sammy telling the presiding judge, Judge Carol Weimer, and why she is asking Judge Carol Weimer to seal it. Now, Prosecutor Sarah Sammy is telling Judge Carol Weimer that the reason she wants this case sealed is because there's a dash camera inside Mustafa's vehicle, and it shows the last moments of 5-year-old Empress. Mustafa lost his family in a vehicle accident. His girlfriend, her 5-year-old baby, were lost in a vehicle accident. Now, the county tell you that this dash camera cuts off before impact. Officially, the county tells you that this dash camera cuts off before impact, and that this dash camera doesn't have audio. Now, once we took the file from the county, what's coming out of digital forensic is that this dash camera does have audio, but the prosecution office is telling you it doesn't have audio. But digital forensic within the police department, when they finally got this dash camera, tell you it does have audio. So this is a developing case. The prosecution went as far as gotten a lip reader. The lip reader has now been kicked off the case. But since I stole the dash camera and leaked the full dash camera, that lip reader has been kicked off the case. Now, the prosecutor is telling Judge Carol Weimer on day one, she tells him that we need to seal this case, Your Honor, because there's a 5-year-old baby on dash camera, and we don't want this anywhere. Because of the baby, we have to seal it. Let's read the transcript and see what Prosecutor Sarah Sammy is telling Judge Weimer, and where is Judge Weimer, the presiding judge, is telling the prosecutor. And we're going to find out, is this prosecutor being honest about the Mustafa Al-Jazari case? Does she really care about 5-year-old Empress, and that's why she's sealing it? Well, let's find out. My problem is, this prosecutor tells the judge one thing, and then she does something completely different. She's the one that released the dash camera. So obviously, that's not why she's sealing the dash camera. Let's read the transcript. So if you go on TikTok under Beyond the Metal Bars, you find a transcript that we released from court, and we've titled it, She Lied About Why They Sealed the Case. That's Prosecutor Sarah Sammy. That's Judge Carol Weimer, presiding Judge Carol Weimer. And this is titled, She Lied About Why They Sealed the Case. So let's read the transcript. All right. So this is August 7, 2023. Okay. So Prosecutor Sarah Sammy, Your Honor, I spoke with Mr. Stevens. Mr. Stevens is Casey Stevens, the attorney, Mustafa's attorney at the time. If the court could actually seal the exhibit, admit it into evidence. He has no objection to the ex parte and the sealing of the exhibits. Judge Weimer asked, and what would be the reason for that? Prosecutor Sarah Sammy tells him, Your Honor, given that this is a very highly contested case, there has been a protective order entered between the Commonwealth and the defense counsel indicating that whatever exhibits are admitted, they will be under seal. And specifically with the dash camera, it depicts Miss Fontaine and Empress Fontaine, the 5-year-old, moments before their unaliving. So she's telling Judge Carol Weimer, because there's a dash camera that shows the last moment of Mustafa's family, a 5-year-old baby, his girlfriend, we want to seal off this case. The problem here, keep in mind, the problem here, I'm going to show you, the prosecutor, Sarah Sammy, is the one that released the dash camera. So obviously, she's not being honest with the court, and she's not being honest with us here. There's another reason. Obviously, there's something else that's going on that the prosecution have to seal off the Mustafa Al-Jazari case. Obviously, they don't care. They don't care about the baby. If the prosecutor is the one that released the dash camera, obviously, she doesn't care, and she's not being honest here. Judge Weimer says, the court, can you take care of that, madam? So he tells the clerk, can you go ahead and seal off, take care of that? The clerk says, of course. Sarah Sammy says, thank you, Your Honor. Judge Weimer says, and that will apply to exactly all exhibits. Sarah Sammy says, yes. He indicated he did not have an objection to all exhibits. Judge Weimer says, does it include the transcript of today's hearing? Sarah Sammy says, Your Honor, I don't believe like that actual transcript, the word, I don't think so, but it would still be under seal in the court file generally, so it wouldn't be open to, okay, so she even wants this transcript sealed. Judge Weimer says, says, so it is the whole file to be sealed. Is that what you're asking? So he tells Sarah Sammy, you're telling me basically, you just want me to seal off the whole file. Of course, the prosecution love that the whole file is sealed. And obviously, they're not being honest why they're sealing the Mustafa Al-Jazari case. Judge Weimer says, okay, do you understand that she's saying the clerk, so he's talking to the clerk, and they agree that the case is sealed. So, based on the transcript, Sarah Sammy, the prosecutor, is telling him, because there's a 5-year-old baby, we want to seal it, so we're going to seal off the whole case. Well, let's look at what prosecutor Sarah Sammy released on NBC4. And the question is prosecutor Sarah Sammy being honest about why she sealed off the Mustafa Al-Jazari case? If she's the one releasing the dash camera, if she's the one releasing the last moment of 5-year-old Empress, so there must be something else why they're sealing the Mustafa Al-Jazari. And the question is, are they sealing it because the case is falsified? I'll tell you. You don't have to take my word for it. I have evidence that they're hiding in the Mustafa Al-Jazari case that showed the reason they're sealing the Mustafa Al-Jazari case, not because of 5-year-old Empress. Obviously, they released the dash camera. It's because they falsified the Mustafa Al-Jazari case all the way down to the arrest warrant. And there's evidence that showed this is a car accident. Let's look at the dash camera and see what prosecutor Sarah Sammy released to NBC4, Julie Carey with NBC4. And keep in mind that what they've done is released an edited version of a dash camera. Let's watch what what Sarah Sammy released to NBC4.
Only on 4 tonight, newly released dashcam video shows the seconds before a car crashed into oncoming traffic and killed a woman and her young daughter.
Now, the man who has been jailed for more than a year, accused of intentionally causing that crash, may soon bond out of jail. He faces 2 charges of second-degree murder.
Northern Virginia Bureau Chief Julie Carey was in court today when prosecutors presented evidence, including video from that dash cam. And we want to warn you, some of what you're about to see is disturbing.
This is some of the dash cam video the prosecution played for the judge to try to convince him to keep Mustafa.
We're all looking at 5-year-old Empress in the back. So we just read what Prosecutor Sarah Sammy is telling Judge Carol Weimer, that the reason this case is sealed is because of 5-year-old Empress. Well, then why are you releasing 5-year-old Empress out on the news? Obviously, you are lying to the judge. You're lying to the presiding judge. And the bigger problem is Judge Weimer is watching that this prosecutor is telling him one thing and is doing something completely different. So the question is Judge Carol Weimer entertaining a prosecutor that's lying to him? And that's a bigger problem, because now you're talking about a situation where the judge is no longer impartial.
Al Jazeera behind bars. It shows the moments before his car crashed into oncoming traffic, killing his girlfriend, Dorothy Fontaine, and her 5-year-old daughter. There is no audio, but prosecutors say the couple's facial expressions indicated they were arguing, continuing a fight that began earlier in the day over a former boyfriend.
Hold on now. This is a dash camera that Julie Carey released and is telling you that they're arguing inside the vehicle. I find it disturbing and I find it very interesting. And the question is Julie Carey covering up for a prosecutor in a police department that's falsifying the Mustafa Al-Jazari case? What am I talking about? I mean, here she's telling you that they're arguing inside the vehicle, but then they edit the portion. If you literally rewind this dash camera 20 seconds, you'll find out that Mustafa and Dorothy are passing back and forth a cigarette, a hemp cigarette. Based on the toxicology report, you'll see that Mustafa and Dorothy are passing back and forth a hemp cigarette. The question is, why isn't Julie Carey telling us that Mustafa and Dorothy are passing back and forth a hemp cigarette? If you literally rewind this dash camera 20 seconds from what Julie Carey is airing out to you, she's telling you there's an argument inside the vehicle, but yet if we rewind this dash camera 20 seconds, we see that Mustafa and Dorothy are passing back and forth a hemp cigarette. Let's watch that one more time. Now, this is a huge problem because you're telling us you cut the dash camera, you edit, you Julie Carey with NBC4, you edit and cut this dash camera, you release it out on NBC4, and when we actually rewind this dash camera, you're telling us there's an argument inside the vehicle. But if we rewind this dash camera, literally 20 seconds, we see that Mustafa and Dorothy are passing back and forth a hemp cigarette. Now, the problem here is now you're lying to us. Now you're taking this dash camera out of context. You're telling us there's an argument inside the vehicle, but you're going to remove the cigarette. So you're helping the prosecution falsify a whole entire case. Is that why the case is sealed? It's because they want to release an edited version of a dash camera to you and tell you they're arguing inside the vehicle? Why not be honest? Oh, you want to falsify the case. You want to seal off the case. Tell us because of 5-year-old Empress, and then you the prosecutor, you tell the judge, because of 5-year-old Empress, we're going to seal off the case. And then turn around and release an edited version of the dash camera where Empress is right there. The reason that you're sealing off the case, not because of Empress, you're sealing off the case because you're editing the dash camera where you don't want to show that they're passing back and forth a hemp cigarette. Because once you do, I mean, the way Dorothy, Mustafa's girlfriend, feels Mustafa's finger when she's taking the cigarette, she feels Mustafa's finger. So you can't say they're arguing inside the vehicle. Now, this is a sealed dash camera. I've reached into their server and I stole this file from them. And now you get to see that they're sharing a cigarette, a hemp cigarette inside the vehicle. Now, Why is this case sealed? Let's go back to what Julie Carey. Now that you've seen the cigarette, let's watch what Julie Carey is telling us one more time.
Only on 4 tonight, newly released dashcam video shows the seconds before a car crashed into oncoming traffic and killed a woman and her young daughter.
Now, the man who has been jailed for more than a year, accused of intentionally causing that crash, may soon bond out of jail. He faces 2 charges of second-degree murder.
Northern Virginia Bureau Chief Julie Carey was in court today when prosecutors presented evidence, including video from that dash cam. And we want to warn you, some of what you're about to see is disturbing.
This is some of the dashcam video the prosecution played for the judge to try to convince him to keep Mustafa Al-Jaziri behind bars. It shows the moments before his car crashed into oncoming traffic, killing his girlfriend, Dorothy Fontaine, and her 5-year-old daughter. There is no audio, but prosecutors say the couple's facial expressions indicated they were arguing, continuing a fight that began earlier in the day over a former boyfriend.
Now, what if I tell you, why isn't Julie Carey, now that we watched that again, and we saw that Mustafa and Dorothy, Mustafa's girlfriend, are passing back and forth a hemp cigarette. Now, why isn't Julie Carey telling you that the police department inspected Mustafa's vehicle and found brake failure? That the computer inside Mustafa's vehicle showed that his foot is on the brake the whole entire time trying to stop the vehicle, but the vehicle would not stop because there's brake failure. Why isn't Julie Carey telling you there is a body cam where the police mechanic inspected Mustafa's vehicle and found brake failure? That when Mustafa's foot is on the brake the whole entire time, the vehicle would not stop. Is that why the case is sealed? Let's watch the body cam.
Brake. Didn't engage.
Let's watch that one more time.
Brake. Didn't engage.
Brake did not engage. Mustafa, the computer inside Mustafa's vehicle, showed that his foot is on the brake the whole entire time trying to stop the vehicle. And the vehicle would not stop. Let's look at the computer inside Mustafa's vehicle that showed that Mustafa's foot was on the brake the whole entire time. And the police mechanic, prosecutor Sarah Sammy, your police mechanic, inspected Mustafa's vehicle and found that the vehicle would not stop. There's brake failure. Let's look at the computer inside the vehicle. Is that why the case is sealed? Obviously, you're lying to us. Why you're telling Judge Weimer you want to seal it? You want to tell us because of a 5-year-old baby that you released on NBC4, but you're not releasing that there is evidence that Mustafa did everything he can to avoid a vehicle accident? Let's look at the computer inside the vehicle. And the question is, why is Julie Carey with NBC4 not telling us there's brake failure? That Mustafa's foot, the computer inside Mustafa's vehicle showed that his foot is on the brake the whole entire time. This is the computer inside Mustafa's vehicle that shows Mustafa's foot is on the brake the whole entire time. Let's watch NBC4 one more time. Now that we know that Julie Carey with NBC4 is lying to us, that prosecutor Sarah Sammy is lying to us about why they're sealing the case. And the question that we're going to keep asking ourselves, are they sealing this case because evidence showed that Mustafa did everything he can to avoid a vehicle accident? Let's watch Julie Carey one more time.
Only on 4 tonight, newly released dashcam video shows the seconds before a car crashed into oncoming traffic and killed a woman and her young daughter.
Now, the man who has been jailed for more than a year, accused of intentionally...
They won't tell you that this is a car accident, that Mustafa did everything he can to avoid a vehicle accident. They'll just tell you the police department and the prosecution office say that Mustafa did this intentionally. They're not going to tell you there's brake failure. They're not going to tell you that his foot was on the brake the whole entire time. They're not going to tell you that they're passing back and forth a cigarette. So clearly there's no argument inside the vehicle.
Causing that crash, may soon bond out of jail. He faces 2 charges of second-degree murder.
Northern Virginia Bureau Chief Julie Carey was in court today when prosecutors presented evidence, including video from that dash cam. And we want to warn you, some of what you're about to see is disturbing.
This is some of the dash cam video the prosecution played for the judge to try to convince him to keep Mustafa Al-Jazari behind bars. It shows the moments before his car crashed into oncoming traffic.
She's not going to tell you there's brake failure. She's going to leave that out of the whole entire case. They're not going to tell you that the police inspected the vehicle and found brake failure, that his foot is on the brake the whole entire time trying to avoid a vehicle accident.
Killing his girlfriend, Dorothy Fontaine, and her 5-year-old daughter. There is no audio, but prosecutors say that
they're not going to tell you that digital forensic admit that there is audio, and the officer that took the dash camera, Chad Mason, admit to cutting and muting the dash camera. They're not going to tell you that in court he admitted to violating the chain of custody. For 2 days, he took that dash camera. For 2 days, he played around with the files without a warrant, breaking the chain of custody. That when digital forensic finally got this dash camera, they're telling you there is audio. And today we're looking at a dash camera that is cut before impact and has no audio. Well, obviously, the officer that's telling you I broke the chain of custody sat on this dash camera for 2 days, cut and muted the audio.
couple's facial expressions indicated they were arguing, continuing a fight that began earlier in the day over a former boyfriend.
They're not going to tell you that the ex-boyfriend says, Mustafa doesn't even know me. So wait a minute. You're telling me that Mustafa is arguing over an ex that doesn't even know him? That Mustafa doesn't even know that guy, and there's a police body cam where the ex tell you Mustafa doesn't even know me? Wait a minute. Julie Carey and the prosecution office are now telling you there's Google Nest videos that show there is no argument inside the house. That it's a beautiful relationship. The day of the accident, the day before, a Google Nest video that the prosecution office is terrified. Now that we've hacked that Google Nest system and we have the day of the accident, the day before, and the day before, that shows it's a beautiful relationship. And the prosecution lied.
Then as the car reaches an intersection,
they're not going to tell you that they're cutting the portion where Dorothy and Mustafa are passing back and forth a cigarette.
It veers left into oncoming traffic. Prosecutors saying Al-Jazari did it intentionally. Another camera angle showing.
They're not going to tell you that there is a body cam where a witness says that Mustafa cleared all the vehicles, made it to the fourth lane, and the SUV that wasn't hitting the brake, that was speeding, that's under the influence, turned into Mustafa. After Mustafa cleared all the vehicles. Let's listen to the witness on the scene. That tell you Mustafa cleared all the vehicles.
Can I get
to the fourth lane, and the SUV turned into Mustafa.
phone number for you, sir? Yeah, it's 571-389-4540. I'll let you work on that. Can I talk to you for a quick second over here? Can you just tell me what you saw?
Yeah, so the Chrysler over there was coming this way.
Which way? Sorry.
Coming this direction. We were going this direction. We had the green light. This car was in front of me. And I saw the Chrysler just randomly. He wasn't even in the turn lane. He just darted over directly in front of this car. Okay. And so she slammed him. I guess he made it far enough over that it hit the right.
She slammed him. The SUV driver, the female SUV driver slammed him. He made it far enough over into the fourth lane. Let's listen to that one more time.
So she slammed him. I guess he made it far enough over that it hit the right side.
You want to tell me and explain to me why this case is sealed? Let's look at the main investigator on the scene where he says the same exact thing, that Mustafa cleared all the vehicle, made it to the 4th lane, and the SUV turned into the 4th lane after Mustafa clearing all the vehicles. Is that why this case is sealed? Let's watch Robert Drum, the main investigator, on a sealed body cam, explain to us that Mustafa did everything he can to avoid a vehicle accident.
You got to think. You got to think.
No,
What you think, please?
trying to find where they spun.
Seems like, yeah. That's a smart play.
Because the damage is on the right, which caused them to flip that way. So,
And then it finally broke off with soup.
so that's her.
They're coming in sideways.
Yep.
Gets popped, rotates.
She just rolls backwards.
So here's the question: which way did they?
Pay attention to this part. What he's about to tell him is that Mustafa cleared into the 4th lane. And the only way this accident could happen is Mustafa cleared into the 4th lane and the SUV turned into Mustafa.
She comes straight. She hits.
She would have turned into it.
She would have turned into him. Mustafa clears all the vehicle, makes it to the 4th lane, and the SUV turns into Mustafa. You want to tell me that he intentionally crashed the vehicle when your police department inspected his vehicle and found brake failure? Your police mechanic, you, Prosecutor Sarah Sam, your police mechanic inspected Mustafa's vehicle and found brake failure. The computer inside Mustafa's vehicle showed that Mustafa's foot is on the brake the whole entire time. And the vehicle would not stop. Mustafa is trying to avoid a vehicle accident. He clears all the vehicle wouldn't stop. He ends up on oncoming traffic. There's a vehicle that blocks him. He can't go right. There's a vehicle that blocks him. There's a medium in front of him. He ends up in oncoming traffic. He's hitting the brake. The vehicle wouldn't stop, so he ends up in oncoming traffic. He clears every vehicle, makes it to the 4th lane, and the SUV turned into Mustafa. Clearly, he's doing everything he can to avoid a vehicle accident. And you've lied. You've lied to the judge, to Judge Carol Weimer, why this case is sealed. Is that why this case is sealed? Well, clearly, what you're telling us, that clearly it's not because of 5-year-old Empress. Clearly, because there is evidence that show that you and you're using police officer that falsified this case. And evidence show that this case is falsified. Evidence show that this is a car accident. What if I tell you, it's not just that there's evidence that show this is a vehicle accident, is that the officer, the main investigator, falsified the arrest warrant. And unless you seal off this case, no one's going to find out. Because if this case is not sealed, you're going to pull the warrant, you're going to look at the body cams, and you're going to find out, is this arrest warrant falsified? If it's sealed, no one can verify it. The only way you can get away with it is if you seal off the case. You put them in solitary, you seal off the case. Every lawyer that comes in is threatened by the county. We have multiple videos and recording where the lawyers that came into the Mustafa Al-Jazari case have been threatened. Mustafa's in solitary. The media is in your pocket. NBC4 is not going to tell you that there's evidence that this is a car accident. We just watched NBC4, Julie Carey, and she didn't cover any of what the body cams show, that this is a car accident. It's not reflective on the news. So how were you going to find out that in your backyard, there's a case that's being falsified? And it sounds good. The prosecutors, it sounds good. There's a 5-year-old baby. We have to seal off this case to protect 5-year-old Empress when she's releasing 5-year-old Empress all over the news. Well, clearly there's something else. Well, on this podcast, now that I have the file, now that I took the complete file, I got into their server and took the file, I can get on this podcast, pull up the warrant. I have the sealed warrant. And on this podcast, we can read the warrant and find out, is the arrest warrant falsified? We have evidence that this is a car accident. Every piece of evidence showed that Mustafa did everything he can to avoid a vehicle accident. Now, why was Mustafa initially arrested? Did the investigator Robert Drum, falsify the warrant and therefore arrest Mustafa? Did he go to the magistrate and lie to the magistrate? Let's find out. Let's pull up the warrant. Let's read the warrant together. We're going to read it and cross-reference it with the police body cams. Police body cams and document and see, is this investigator did this investigator lie to the magistrate to obtain a warrant and therefore arrest Mustafa? And what are the consequences if you have evidence that this investigator falsified the arrest warrant? There's evidence that this is a car accident and Mustafa did everything he can to avoid a vehicle accident, and the arrest warrant is false. So what are the consequences? Why is Mustafa sitting in solitary confinement for over 3 years? Oh, that's right. They sealed off the case, so no one can verify any of it. Well, unfortunately for prosecutor Sarah Sammy, unfortunately for Commonwealth Amy Ashworth, I have her file, and we can get on a podcast and litigate this and find out. Let's pull up the warrant and find out if her police officer, Robert Drum, falsified the warrant. All right, so this is the warrant for Robert Drum. Robert Drum tells you that on April 5th, 2023, he said, I responded to the area of Dumfries Road and Fortuna Center Plaza for a crash. Once on scene, the driver of a black 4-door sedan was being removed from the driver's seat. I spoke to this driver, Mr. Mustafa Al-Jazari, was not aware of his surrounding and seemed to be in a daze and slightly removed from the world, consistent with a person whom is under the influence of drugs, of a drug. The problem here, when we go through the police body cam, Robert Drum never spoke to Mustafa. Let that really sink in. Robert Drum, based on the police body cams, from the minute that he arrived to the minute that Mustafa was medevaced to the hospital, Robert Drum never spoke to Mustafa. In Mustafa's file, we have 3 body cams. We're going to go through those body cams. We're going to walk with Robert Drum on the scene. And we're going to see, did Robert Drum talk to Mustafa? He never did. Now, a bigger problem for Robert Drum, he says that Mustafa is on drugs. Wait a minute. We have Mustafa's toxicology. This is Mustafa's toxicology. Let's pull up the toxicology report. This is the toxicology report. Department of Forensic Science, Certificate of Analysis. Mustafa Al-Jazari. All right. Blood alcohol, non-detected. So there is no alcohol in Mustafa's system. Is there any THC in Mustafa's system? THC 0.0003. What does that mean? When we're looking at the dash camera, you see that Mustafa and Dorothy are passing back and forth a cigarette. What kind of cigarette is that? It's a hemp cigarette. How do you know it's a hemp cigarette? The THC level is 0.00003. What does that mean? It's a hemp cigarette. Mustafa's girlfriend has cancer, and because of her cancer, she smokes hemp. And we see in the dash camera when she's rolling up the hemp cigarette when Mustafa's at a gas station, when Mustafa pulls into the gas station, when he's inside the gas station, we see Dorothy roll up the hemp cigarette. We have the toxicology, and we can, it's no longer my word against your word. No, we're looking at the toxicology report, and we're finding out what they're smoking inside the vehicle is a hemp cigarette. So Robert Drum has a huge problem because he turned he falsified the warrant. He's telling you that Mustafa's on drugs when the toxicology report showed that Mustafa was not on drugs. Now, did Robert Drum, is there a body cam where there's an off-duty paramedic that's telling this investigator that Mustafa is dealing with a concussion? And Robert Drum lies to the magistrate and tell you that Mustafa is on drugs? I mean, really let that sink in. What is going on with Robert Drum? He's flat out lying to the magistrate to arrest Mustafa, to falsify a warrant. Let's watch what the off-duty paramedic is telling Robert Drum. And Robert Drum turns around and completely falsify what the off-duty paramedic is telling this investigator. Let's pull up the body cam for all right. So if you go to TikTok Beyond the Metal Bars, there's going to be a body cam for the off-duty paramedic that pulled Mustafa from the vehicle. And then we see this off-duty paramedic tell Robert Drum that Mustafa is dealing with a concussion. That Mustafa believed that he's in 2022. Obama is the president. That it's COVID. And then Robert Drum completely turns around and lied to the magistrate. All right, bear with us. We're going to find this body cam. There is a lot of body cams. So if it takes a minute to find this body cam. And what's really disturbing is not only immediately after Robert Drum gets done talking to this off-duty paramedic, he turns to another police officer and he falsified what the off-duty paramedic just told him. He says the off-duty paramedic told me that Mustafa is on drugs when the off-duty paramedic told him that Mustafa is dealing with a concussion. Obama is the president. It's 2022. Let's listen to what the off-duty paramedic is telling this investigator.
We started assessing the gentleman.
And did he say anything?
He didn't say anything. Didn't know what was happening. Thought Obama was still the president. That was 2022. So he's a little incoherent.
You work for us?
I do not.
Okay. Who do you work for?
Marine Corps Embassy Security Group.
Okay.
So I'm a Navy corpsman down there.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much.
Yep. So,
and we have your info?
I think.
Let's listen to that one more time.
We started
Obama is the president. It's 2022. Incoherent. These are all signs of being in a concussion. Let's listen to that one more time.
Assessing the gentleman. We started assessing the gentleman.
And did he say anything?
He didn't say anything. Didn't know what was happening. Thought Obama was still the president. That was 2022. So he's a little incoherent.
Do you work for us?
I do not.
Okay. Who do you work for?
Marine Corps Embassy.
Robert Drum turns around and tells other police officers on the scene that the off-duty paramedic is telling him that Mustafa is on drugs. We just heard the off-duty paramedic tell this investigator that Mustafa is dealing with a concussion. And not only is he telling other police officers that Mustafa is on drugs, he's falsifying the off-duty paramedic. And what the off-duty paramedic is telling him, he goes to a magistrate. He goes to a magistrate and falsify a whole entire warrant. Let's pull up the body cam where Robert Drum literally turns around right after he got done talking to the off-duty paramedic and says this to the officer, completely falsifying what the off-duty paramedic just told him.
Did he tell you what happened?
Yes.
Who ran what?
Nobody ran anything. This car's going this direction. Probably gets hit about right here. This car is coming the opposite direction, crosses over into oncoming traffic.
He's coming. I'm going to go hold off traffic.
He crosses over into oncoming traffic, basically starts to yaw, gets T-boned by the truck in this lane, and then spits out, hits the wall, and comes to rest. So, driver here, you guys say he's a known drug addict. We found methamphetamines on him. The kid in the back seat, thank God, was wearing a seatbelt. And then mom, who's dead right now, that's Santera, died probably within the first 30 seconds. So I don't know if...
I mean, the off-duty paramedic, he falsified what the off-duty paramedic is telling him, that Mustafa is dealing with a concussion. He says the off-duty paramedic says Mustafa is on drugs. He said, you guys are telling me that he's on drugs. And then when you actually do a toxicology, you find no alcohol, no drugs. Now, it gets more disturbing because what he's telling him here is that we found methamphetamine on him. Meth. Problem here is he's taking what Mustafa's prescribed Adderall is. Mustafa has a prescription. And on body cam, they find Mustafa's prescription. But they're going around telling other officers and witnesses that Mustafa's on meth. Let's go back to the warrant and read that warrant one more time. Did Robert Drum falsify the warrant? Robert Drum says, on April 5th, 2023, I responded to an area of Dumfries Road and Fortuna Center Plaza for a crash. Once on the scene, the driver of a black four-door sedan was being removed from the driver's seat. So, the first thing that he says the SUV, the female SUV driver, the other vehicle involved in this case, he said, I saw her being removed from the vehicle. The body cam showed that he never saw, she was already removed. He said, I spoke to the driver, Mr. Mustafa Al-Jazari, was not aware of his surrounding and seemed to be in a daze and slightly removed from the world, consistent with a person whom is under the influence of drugs. He never talked to Mustafa. And the off-duty paramedic is telling him Mustafa is in a concussion. The toxicology report showed that Mustafa has no alcohol and no drugs in his system. But Robert Drum is putting that on an arrest, on a warrant. He's telling the magistrate, he's writing that in a warrant, and it's telling the magistrate to obtain an arrest warrant. This is what took Mustafa's freedom. This is the arrest warrant. Robert Drum flat out lied to the magistrate. And we're going to go through the body cam, Exhibit 10, Exhibit 13, Exhibit 14. If you go on our YouTube channel, we have a playlist for all the body cams that we stole from the county, the sealed body cams, or we can litigate and find out is this case falsified. We put them on a playlist. If you go on our YouTube under Not Another Boring Podcast, there's a playlist called Police Body Cams, Mustafa Al-Jazari. I've numbered the body cams into exhibits. If you go to Exhibit 10, scroll all the way down, go to Exhibit 10. That's one of Robert's drum body cam. That's right in the warrant. That's his body cam. He has another body cam that's on the scene. Exhibit 13, Exhibit 13, and Exhibit 14. Okay? So, what we're going to do, we're going to go through Exhibit 10, Exhibit 13, and Exhibit 14. All right? And this is going to tell us and show us that Robert Drum never talked to Mustafa. He never talked to Mustafa. He lied to the magistrate. This is the arrest warrant. This is why Mustafa was arrested. Robert Drum never talked to Mustafa. But he's telling the magistrate that he talked to Mustafa. Lied to the magistrate. So we're going to go through Exhibit 10, Exhibit 13, Exhibit 14. I spoke to the driver and was not aware of his surrounding and seemed to be in a daze and slightly removed from the world, consistent with a person who's under the influence of drugs. During the investigation, it was learned the vehicle was traveling west on Dumfries Road when, for an unknown reason, not an unknown because your police department, your mechanic inspected Mustafa's vehicle and found brake failure. The computer inside Mustafa's vehicle, we just looked at it. We just looked at the computer that shows Mustafa's foot is on the brake the whole entire time, trying to stop the vehicle. And because there's brake failure, the vehicle would not stop. That's according to your police mechanic. According to you, on a body cam, you said that Mustafa cleared every vehicle, made it into the fourth lane. But you lied to the magistrate and said for an unknown reason, it crossed sideways into eastbound traffic, having the right side collided with another vehicle. Both passengers in his car had serious injuries. Meth salts were removed from his person along with possible marijuana in the vehicle. You tested what's in the vehicle, and it's hemp. And you're going around saying to the magistrate that it's meth salt. Mustafa has prescribed Adderall. He's been on Adderall since he was in high school. And on body cam, you went through the vehicle and found his prescription. So why are you going around telling other officers and other witnesses, and now you're telling the magistrate that Mustafa's on meth? Clearly, you're lying to the magistrate. The accused is also a known drug user, according to officers on the scene. Mustafa has zero criminal history. So for you to say a known drug user, where? Give me any police report. Give me any police report. Give me where Mustafa, and in court during a Brady motion, the prosecutor were asked about that. Why did your officer, the minute that he showed up on the scene, say that Mustafa is on drugs? Why did he say that? Creating a bias. He influenced the investigation where now you're getting his blood draw. You're saying that he's on drugs. You're going around. They're going as far as telling witnesses on the scene that Mustafa is on drugs. I mean, imagine people that are there. That are seeing an accident, a mother and a baby being sent to the hospital, just came out of a major accident. And officers on the scene are going around to these people and they're telling them a mother and a baby just lost their life is because of that guy. Don't worry about him in front of his vehicle on the floor, in and out of consciousness. Don't worry about him dying right in front of you. He caused the accident. That mother and that baby is because of him. He's on drugs. That's what they're telling officers. That's what they're telling witnesses. That you can see witnesses change their statement in real time on body cams. First, they say that Mustafa cleared all the vehicles. And then the minute that this officer that's going around telling that Mustafa is on drugs began changing their statements. On body cam, each of the witnesses say we didn't see the accident. But Robert Drum in this warrant says, I have witnesses that saw the accident. What exactly are you doing here? Are you going around telling the people that were on the scene, the bystanders, that mother, that baby is, that Mustafa caused it on purpose because he's on drugs? A mother and her baby, you're telling these people that Mustafa did this on purpose? And is that how you're going to get them to change their statements? I mean, we see it on body cam. We have Officer Casey Fine running around. As soon as Robert Drum gets on scene, this is what Casey Fine is telling him. Knowing him, he's on drugs. The prosecutor is asked in court, why did your officer say that? What evidence did this officer have that Mustafa is on drugs? What is that coming from? Prosecutor Sarah Sammy tells Judge Carol Weimer in court, Your Honor, Officer Casey Fine knows Mustafa from the 2018 incident. What did you just say on the record? The 2018 incident is where Mustafa is suing the police for the police violating his rights. Mustafa has $500,000 lawsuit against the police. And now you're telling me this officer knows about this lawsuit and possibly why he showed up with that bias? Oh, he hates Mustafa. And forget that officer. There's another officer where he flat out tells you, we've been briefed about Mustafa. Oh, it's that guy. And he's talking about Mustafa's lawsuit. Officer that show up on the scene, the minute they showed up, they're talking about Mustafa's $500,000 lawsuit. Now, is there a bias against Mustafa? Of course there is. He's suing the police. Let's watch Casey Fine. And the minute that Robert Drum, the main investigator, showed up, Casey Fine points out Mustafa. Mustafa is right in front of his vehicle, in and out of consciousness, on the floor. And Casey Fine is laughing and is telling the main investigator and creating this bias where now the prosecution has a huge problem because there are no police reports. Mustafa does not have a criminal history. Mustafa has zero criminal history. So for this officer to influence this whole investigation and for them to go to the magistrate and lie to the magistrate, it's a huge problem. You falsified the arrest warrant. The foundation of this whole entire case is falsified.
45, 20, that'll be 3. I'm already here. And then Mason and Wilhelm are on their way.
All right, sir.
Take pictures while you do anything else.
No, we'll figure out where the bodies are going in a minute. Witnesses, anybody say what happened?
Yeah, there's a lady she's over here in the black. They said he's driving, but knowing him though, it's probably drug related.
Okay.
That's Mustafa right there. Mustafa is right in front of his vehicle, in and out of consciousness. He just lost his family in a car accident where he did everything he can to avoid a car accident. And it's not my word against the police department. No, I have their file. And you have Officer Casey Fine, the minute that he showed up, influenced the investigation. Knowing him, he's on drugs. Oh, yeah, that guy is a piece of shit. Why is he a piece of shit? Oh, because he's suing us. How dare a Mustafa sue the police in our county? We're going to make sure to put this Mustafa back into his place. We're going to go and falsify a whole entire case. Oh, that Mustafa, a white girl and a baby lost their life in our county. We're going to falsify. We don't care that this is a car accident anymore. We don't care that he did we don't care that this is his family. Oh, that guy that's suing us, we're going to make sure to falsify this case. We're going to go to the magistrate. Yep, we're going to go to the magistrate and lie to the magistrate. You have Officer Rob, that really drive the point home. On body cam, he's talking openly about Mustafa's lawsuit and how they've been watching Mustafa. Oh, it's that guy. I've been briefed about that guy. It's that guy.
Hey, I talked to Grantham on the other one, and he said that it looked like. So we're good. We're good.
Sorry.
Everything's
We'll call you next time.
Hey, can I be honest with you? I don't even know that cat. I do now. I remember now that it was brought up.
I didn't even know that guy. I know now. I know who that guy is. He's been brought up. We've been briefed about him.
I don't even know that cat. I do now. I remember now that it was brought up.
It's that guy. Now I know who we're talking about. It's that guy. We've been briefed about that guy. Oh, that's the guy that's suing us. And what are we going to do? We're going to go to the magistrate and lie to the magistrate. As a matter of fact, what we're going to do, we're going to pump money into this case to make sure that we falsify it. On body cam, they're talking about taking money out of their pocket and pumping it into the Mustafa Al-Jazari case to make sure they falsify it. Let's listen to what they're talking about.
Okay. Did you do anything inappropriate to it?
Did you do anything inappropriate to Mustafa's vehicle? He's telling the same officer that's been briefed about Mustafa before the vehicle accident that this is the guy that's doing it. And once they found out, oh, it's that guy. He's telling that same officer, did you do anything inappropriate to Mustafa's car? And they're going to go as far as say, I have an idea, but it's going to need spending money. I'm going to have to put spending money out of my pocket into this case to make sure it gets falsified.
So again, nothing froze. Steering wheel is moving. What? I'm going to figure out that brake issue, and then then I'll be done. Hey, Rob, remind me to tell you I had an idea about this case that I thought we should imply.
Remind me, I have an idea about this case, but it's going to require spending money.
Imply, is that the word? Employ. It would take spending money, though. Take what? Spending money.
Take what? It's going to take spending money. We're going to have to take money out of our pocket, pump it into the Mustafa Al-Jazari case to make sure that we falsify it. Right after he found brake failure, his mechanic just found brake failure. They have the computer inside the vehicle. And it shows Mustafa's foot is on the brake the whole entire time. They inspect the vehicle and find brake failure. The vehicle would not stop. So what do? They pump money into this case. They go to the magistrate, falsify a whole entire warrant to arrest Mustafa. A prosecutor where she lies to the judge and tells him, because of the 5-year-old baby, Your Honor, we have to seal off this case. But in the background, behind closed doors, they're falsifying the whole entire case. Clearly, prosecutor Sarah Sammy doesn't care about 5-year-old Empress. She's the one that released that dash camera, the edited dash camera where they removed the cigarette from. She's the one that released it. She released Empress to the news. So clearly, that's not the reason why they're sealing off the case. They're sealing the case because they falsified it. And the only way you can get to the bottom of it, that this case is falsified, is if you have the file. Well, unfortunately for them, we have the file. And what we've done, and what we're going to do, is we're going to, not only that we're telling you that it's falsified, no, we're actually going to walk through this together. On the next podcast, what we're going to do, so we're going to divide this into multiple podcasts. Each body cam is they're long body cams. So just about 15 to 30 minute long body cams. So we're not going to sit here and go through all the body cam on one pod. What we're going to do, we're going to divide these podcasts. So we're going to do part 1, part 2, part 3, part 4, and we're going to be focused on the arrest warrant. And the question is, do we have evidence that Robert Drum falsified the arrest warrant? And what does that mean for the whole entire case? If the warrant is falsified, that's why Mustafa was arrested. The investigator went to a magistrate and flat out lied. Now, we have the evidence to prove it. So on the next podcast, what we're going to do, we're going to go through Exhibit 10. So we're going to go through Exhibit 10. That's Robert Drum's body cam. And we're going to have a separate podcast for Exhibit 13. That's another body cam from investigator Robert Drum on the scene. Because what Robert Drum does, he turns off his body cam, and there's a gap between Exhibit 10 and Exhibit 13. And then he turns off his body cam again, and that's why we have 3 body cams on the scene. So between 1850 to 1902, that's Exhibit 10. Robert Drum arrives on the scene at 1850. Let's go through it really quick. We're not going to go through the whole body cam. We're just setting the scene for...
Welcome to Arcade. With this plugin,
we're just setting the scene for the upcoming podcasts. So this is Exhibit 10. Robert Drum arrives on the scene at 1850 and 50 seconds. He turns off his body cam at 1902 and 59 seconds. That body cam is turned off by Robert Drum. It picks up at another body cam. It picks up Robert Drum once he turns his body cam on again. And that's where Exhibit 13 is. Exhibit 13 starts off at 1902. It starts off at 1902 and 26 seconds. And then Robert Drum turns off the body cam again at 1917 and 52 seconds. Now, Robert Drum turns on his body cam. Robert Drum turns on his body cam at 1919 and 38 seconds. And the body cam turns off at 1936 and 53 seconds. So the third body cam starts off at 1919 and 38 seconds. and then it ends at 19:36 and 53 seconds. Now, we're going to go through each of those body cams. We're going to go through each of those body cams. And the question that we're asking, when we go back to the warrant, the arrest warrant, what Robert Drum told the magistrate: once on the scene, the driver of a black 4-door sedan, he's talking about the other vehicle involved in this case, the 4-door sedan, he says, being removed from the driver's seat. Did Robert Drum observe the female SUV driver get removed from the SUV? And the answer is no. We're going to see that on body cam. Robert Drum tells the magistrate, I spoke to the driver, Mr. Mustafa Al-Jazari. We're going to go through those body cams, and we're going to find out that Robert Drum never spoke to Mustafa. What we've also done, and then we're going to ask questions. What does that mean for the case? If you're talking about a warrant, an arrest warrant, this is the reason that Mustafa was arrested, is falsified. Obviously, that's ground to dismiss the whole entire case. Especially that there is evidence that this is a car accident. They falsified the foundation of the whole case, and that's why Mustafa sits in jail. You have witnesses that are telling you they were never there. You have a vehicle that the police department crushed and staged. You have children that are 9, 10, 14 that the police department weaponized against Mustafa. The forensic interview showed that the police weaponized those children. The Google Nest show it's a beautiful relationship. In the forensic interview, the children are talking about it. That the police lied to them, told them certain things that are not true. That's weaponizing the children. So the vehicle is crushed and staged. The children are weaponized. The dash camera is cut and muted, and the officer admitted to it. He admitted to violating the chain of custody. There is no longer a chain of custody over this dash camera. 2 days where he sat on this dash camera, and today you have a dash camera that has no audio, cut before impact, 17 frames missing from inside the vehicle. And then you found out that Mustafa's foot was on the brake the whole entire time, that he made it into the 4th lane, avoiding every vehicle, that the police inspected the vehicle and found brake failure. Evidence that show this is a car accident, and the police falsified the whole entire case. And you go back to the warrant. The warrant itself is falsified. Now, that's what we're going to do. We're going to go through those. We're going to go through those 3 body cams. And if you're following what we're talking about, you're going to run into an issue. The issue is Robert Drum is going to tell you, when you go through those body cams, those 3 body cams, the prosecution is going to tell you, my investigator did talk to Mustafa. And that gap where he turned off his body cam between body cam exhibit 10, exhibit 13, exhibit 14, Robert Drum, they're going to tell you he did talk to Mustafa. Well, the problem for the prosecution and investigator Robert Drum is what I've done is I've cross-referenced the other body cams, and I've located Robert Drum from the minute that he arrived on scene to the minute that Mustafa was medevaced to the hospital. So, even though Robert Drum turned off his body cam, I've got him on other body cams, and it shows exactly where he's at on the scene at all time. And it shows that he never talked to Mustafa. So what we're going to do, we're going to go through these details. And the body cams that you're going to be looking for is Exhibit 7, Exhibit 8, and Exhibit 12. And you're going to capture this Pokemon, Robert Drum, through Mason's body cam. You're going to capture him through Sermon's body cam. and you're going to capture this Pokemon through Exhibit 8, which is another body cam. So that solved that problem. And without a doubt, Robert Drum never talked to Mustafa. And that warrant is falsified. Before we end the podcast, what I want to go into, I want to visualize what they're doing in the Mustafa Al-Jazari case. I want to visualize what I want to have everybody. I want instead of just reading the warrant, I want you to visualize what is going on. So on the next podcast, what we're going to do, we're going to go through the body cams, and we're going to investigate and get to the bottom and prove that Robert Drum never spoke to Mustafa and this warrant is falsified. What I want to do now is recap everything that we talked about into take you behind closed doors and see what they're doing with this warrant. All right, so let's watch what Robert Drum and Prosecutor Sarah Sammy are doing. This is Robert Drum and Prosecutor Sarah Sammy, where Prosecutor Sarah Sammy is instructing this investigator to falsify the warrant. Now, I'll tell you, she's instructing him, and I'm telling you she's instructing him because during a Brady motion, prosecutor, when the defense attorney, Brad Haywood, asked for the internal communication for the prosecutor with those officers involved, the prosecutor was terrified. And she told Judge Weimer that it's dangerous to release the communication. Why is it dangerous? That's on a transcript. We have the transcript. Why is it dangerous? And why are you terrified to release your communication between you and the officers involved in the Mustafa Al-Jazari case? That we have evidence that falsified this case. Are you instructing those officers on what to do to falsify this case? Let's watch what they're doing behind closed doors.
Just say you spoke with Mustafa at the scene. The magistrate will sign it.
But I didn't.
Then tell him you did.
We need the warrant.
Do you swear the statement is true and correct? Just say you spoke.
She's instructing the investigator to falsify the warrant. Chad Mason, investigator Chad Mason, the one that cut and muted Mustafa's dash camera, on the stand, he told Judge Weimer, when the defense asked Chad Mason, who handled the dash camera, who's telling Judge Weimer that I broke the chain of custody, I took it back to my vehicle, I sat on this dash camera for 2 days without a warrant. When the defense asked him, how do you know that it didn't have audio? Chad Mason says, the Commonwealth attorney told me. Wait a minute. Are you telling me you're an officer that's on the scene? You took possession of Mustafa's dash camera, and you're telling me the prosecutor that sits in her prosecutor office is telling you it doesn't have audio? I'm going to go on a limb and say that she told you to cut the audio. And what do we have today? In a sealed file, Digital Forensic admit that she heard the audio. She said that on the transcript, and she put it in a document in a sealed file, that this dash camera does have audio. The problem here is you have prosecutor that's instructing officers to cut and manipulate and destroy evidence. Let's watch that one more time.
Just say you spoke with Mustafa at the. Just say you spoke with Mustafa at the scene. The magistrate will sign it.
But I didn't.
Then tell him you did.
We need the warrant.
Do you swear the statement is true and correct?
They're telling these officers to go ahead and falsify the warrant. I mean, you think these officers are doing this in a vacuum? Obviously, the prosecution office is telling them and backing them up. Why do you think this case is sealed? She's telling them, do whatever you have to do. I'm going to seal off this case. I'm going to pretend that I'm sealing it for 5-year-old Empress, but I'm sealing it for you, Robert Drum. So you can go ahead and falsify that warrant. I'm going to make sure that when you falsified that warrant, the arrest warrant, I'm going to protect you, Investigator Robert. That's what Prosecutor Sarah Sammy is telling those officers.
You personally made contact with him, and when you did, he wasn't aware of his surrender. Then note the odor, sweet, chemical, you recognized it right away, same smell you found in the cab's glove box.
I can do that.
Good, it links him to the stash, gives the judge a reason to sign off on the warrant for his...
They turned Adderall, that Mustafa's been on Adderall since high school, and they find his prescription in the vehicle, they turned it into meth. And they're going around telling witnesses, they're telling the magistrate that it's meth. They're turning the hemp that they have inside the vehicle, where Mustafa's toxicology show it's hemp. Because his girlfriend has cancer, they're smoking hemp. She smokes hemp, and she passes it to him on dash cam. And this is the foundation of the case. They turn it and say, this is weed. Let's watch that one more time.
A warrant built on a...
You personally made contact with him, and when you did, he wasn't aware of his surrender. Then note the odor, sweet, chemical, you recognized it right away, same smell you found in the cab's glove box.
I can do that.
Good, it links him to the stash, gives the judge a reason to sign off on the warrant for his...
The off-duty paramedic tells his investigator that Mustafa is dealing with a concussion. Obama is the president. Mustafa thinks he's in 2022. This investigator turns around, tells the officers. Officers are telling bystanders, and he goes to the magistrate, and he says Mustafa's on drugs. He's not out of it because of a concussion. He's out of it because of drugs. And the toxicology reports show that Mustafa is not on drugs. We have the toxicology. We can prove that this officer lied.
A warrant built on a lie collapses under constitute Adderall.
And the hemp, his partner's using it for a medical condition. It's not marijuana in the illegal sense.
Not relevant. You're presenting facts to the magistrate as I instruct. Adderall, hemp, none of that.
None of that matters. Investigator Robert Drum and Prosecutor Sarah Sammy are sitting down together, and they're talking about it openly, that, hey, it doesn't matter. We're going to take the Adderall and say it's meth. We're going to take this. As long as you can promise you that you're going to seal the prescription and the body cam in the document, I'm going to go to the magistrate and flat out just say it's meth. I'm just going to go flat out and say the hemp that's in the vehicle, the hemp that they're smoking, is weed. As long as you get to seal off the case, I can do whatever I want. Who's going to verify this? Let's watch that one more time.
Under constitute Adderall.
And the hemp, his partner's using it for a medical condition. It's not marijuana in the illegal sense.
Not relevant. You're presenting facts to the magistrate as I instruct. Adderall, hemp, none of that.
Robert Drum has the toxicology right in front of him and just flat out lie about this case. He gets the toxicology report. He sees that Mustafa is not on drugs. No alcohol, no drugs. And doesn't care because the prosecutor is telling him, go ahead, do what I'm telling you to do. I'm going to seal off the case. You are protected. Who's going to verify it? I mean, if the prosecutor is sealing off the case, who's gonna verify? You put in a FOIA. Your FOIA, your Freedom of Information Act, is denied. You can't get the body cams. You can't get the document. What, you're not going to trust a police officer that's been with the department for 19 years? They're telling you that Mustafa is on drugs, but they sealed off the case. Oh, gee, I wonder why this case is sealed. Oh, that's right, because you falsified it.
No drugs, no alcohol, and I swore he was high. I'll present it exactly as instructed. No deviations, no nuance, first-hand observation.
Everything's in order?
Yes, the affidavit reflects exactly what we discussed. Mustafa appeared impaired, meth and marijuana were...
He appeared impaired. He's on rugs. He appeared impaired. He's on rugs. He's not dealing with a concussion anymore. He's on rugs. Oh, the toxicology show that it's negative. He's not on rugs or alcohol. Oh, we're just gonna seal it. We're just gonna pretend it doesn't exist.
No drugs, no alcohol, and I swore he was high.
I'll present it exactly as instructed. No deviations, no nuance, first-hand observation.
Everything's in order?
Yes, the affidavit reflects exactly what we discussed. Mustafa appeared impaired, meth and marijuana were...
We're going to take it further. We're going to go as far as say that you, Mustafa, told us that you were arguing inside the vehicle. We're going to put that in the police report. Robert Drum went as far as say that, Mustafa, you told me. And if it wasn't for that phone call being recorded by Mustafa's brother, there is no way you can prove otherwise. That's a police officer that's been with the department for 19 years. It's telling you that you, Mustafa, told me you were arguing inside the vehicle. The prosecutor is editing the dash camera. She removed the cigarette. The toxicology is sealed. And they falsified your statements. What are you going to do? Nothing. It's a miracle that we have the file and we have the recording where it shows that this officer flat out falsified the foundation of this whole entire case.
Officer Robert Drum filled in the blanks the way he wanted. Slow, steady strokes. Subject stated he was arguing with his girlfriend inside the vehicle. That's what he wrote. But Mustafa Al-Jazari never said those words.
They falsify your statements. They falsified. This is the foundation of the whole entire case. I mean, Julie Carey, we watched Julie Carey on NBC4 tell us there's an argument inside the vehicle. But then she's going to edit the cigarette from the dash camera. You're going to tell her there's an argument inside the vehicle, but you're going to remove the cigarette? Oh, how convenient. Literally 20 seconds. If you rewind this dash camera, you see that Mustafa and Dorothy are passing back and forth a hemp cigarette. Oh, the investigator said, you, Mustafa, told me you were arguing inside the vehicle. And then you listen to the audio. Mustafa never said that. Mustafa never told the investigator that. I mean, he never said that. But you read the report, you see Investigator Robert Drum in his report that says Mustafa stated he was arguing inside the vehicle with his girlfriend. You listen to the audio, Mustafa never said that.
We personally spoke with Mustafa at the scene. He admitted being there.
That should establish probable cause. On April 5th, he told the magistrate he'd gone to Dumfries Road and Fortuna Center Plaza himself, that he'd seen the crash, talked to the people, pulled the threads together. It sounded solid, firsthand, enough to hang probable cause on it.
Robert Drum goes up to a magistrate and he tells the magistrate, I arrived on scene and I spoke to Mustafa. And that Mustafa was on drugs. That Mustafa, and then you find out, and the body cams that are sealed by the prosecution, that he never spoke to Mustafa. That's falsifying a warrant. You never spoke to Mustafa. As a matter of fact, the evidence show the paramedic is telling you that he's dealing with a concussion. The toxicology show you that he's not on drugs. The officer that told you that he's on drugs has a bias from the lawsuit because Mustafa is actively suing the police for $500,000.
It's me, I filed it. Was probable cause. On April 5th, he told the magistrate he'd gone to Dumfries Road and Fortuna Center Plaza himself, that he'd seen the crash, talked to the people, pulled the threads together. It sounded solid, firsthand, enough to hang probable cause on. It's me.
And they're comfortable, they're happy, and it sure seems that this is standard operating procedure. That's what we're finding in other cases. We have other files, and we're finding that when officers falsify, when officers play with the evidence, the prosecution will seal the case so they can do whatever they want to do with this case.
I filed it.
And?
Warrant signed. We're moving tonight.
Sure.
You hear that? We actually pulled it off.
I could kiss that judge for signing so
It's a
fast.
fast pens and gullible brass.
Cheers.
Cheers.
I still can't believe they bought it.
Believe it. By the time they figure it out, we'll be long gone.
Damn right.
How dare a Mustafa sue the police? How dare this Mustafa? A Mustafa is suing. How dare he sue this county? Oh, he's in a car accident? Oh, it's a white girl and a baby? Oh, that's the guy that's suing us. We're going to make sure that we get our own justice system. We don't care that this is a car accident anymore. We don't care that his foot is on the brake the whole entire time. We don't care that the vehicle, the computer showed that his foot is on the brake. We don't care that our police mechanic inspected the vehicle and found brake failure. What we're going to do, we're going to seal off this case and we're going to falsify it. We're going to flat out falsify it. And who's going to verify it? Who's going to say otherwise? He goes to the magistrate and completely falsifies the arrest warrant. And any evidence that comes out that shows this is a car accident, they seal it.
And?
Warrant signed. We're moving tonight. We'll cause on. It's me. I filed it.
And?
Warrant signed. We're moving tonight.
Sure.
You hear that? We actually pulled it off.
I could kiss that judge for signing so
It's a
fast.
fast pens and gullible brass.
Cheers.
Cheers.
I still can't believe they bought it.
Believe it. By the time they figure it out, we'll be long gone.
Damn right.
But in truth, Drum never spoke to Mustafa.
The body cams and the documents show the file that they sealed, the file that I hacked their system and took from them, showed that Officer Drum falsified the whole entire warrant. And the question that we're asking on our platform is, what does that mean for the Mustafa Al-Duzari case? Evidence showed this is a car accident. Every detail showed this is a car accident. The foundation of the case, the warrant, where you took that man's freedom away, you lied to the magistrate. What does that mean for the... That's a motion to dismiss the whole entire case. You have officers that lied to arrest Mustafa. And that's why you're terrified to go to trial. And the truth is, you will never be ready. You, the prosecution office, you, Prosecutor Sarah Sammy, Prosecutor Stephanie Buck, you will never be ready. You will never be ready for trial because you are using officers that falsified this case. What are you going to do? Put them on the stand? Well, obviously, all these body cams, all these documents, they're going to go on the record, and your officers are going to get cross-examined. Did you falsify the warrant? Did you crush and stage the vehicle? Did you cut and mute the dash camera? Did you weaponize the children? Evidence show, yes, you did. Your officer did 1, 2, and 3, and 4. You're using officer that falsified the whole entire case. That's why Mustafa is being denied trial. Every time there's trial, you push it further. You have a man in solitary confinement where your officers falsified the whole entire case. And the truth of the matter is you will never be ready for trial because you know your officers falsified the whole entire case. So what do? Every time there's trial, you push it further.
Claim in his affidavit was false. Never spoke to Mustafa. The claim in his affidavit was false, and the warrant built on it was fragile.
And swore it under oath. Told the magistrate he'd spoken to Mustafa.
He goes up to a magistrate and tells a magistrate, flat out lies to the magistrate. I mean, we're looking at the warrant, and we're going to be looking at the body cams that show the whole entire warrant, the whole entire thing. It's not he's just lied about one thing. The whole entire warrant is falsified.
Himself. That line carried weight. It made the affidavit swore it under oath. Told the magistrate he'd spoken to Mustafa himself. That line carried weight. It made the affidavit sound certain, personal, but it was a lie. And the seal on the page didn't change that. A warrant built on false words is a hollow.
I mean, really let that sink in. You have an officer that goes up to a magistrate and he's comfortable to lie about everything in the arrest warrant. I mean, you don't have access to that warrant. You don't know why Mustafa was arrested. You can't verify why Mustafa got arrested. That warrant that we're looking at is sealed by the county. If it wasn't for me taking that file, I mean, really, let that sink in. If it wasn't for me taking that file from them, we can't find out why Mustafa was arrested. Is this case falsified? Is there evidence that showed that this is a car? You can't. The county is sealed off the whole entire thing. And they hide behind, what did we read on the transcript? What is prosecutor Sarah Sammy telling the presiding judge who's entertaining this bullshit? Because of 5-year-old Empress, we have to seal off the whole entire case. She's on the dash camera, Your Honor. And then turns around and releases the dash camera. And in the background, behind closed doors, they're falsifying a whole entire case.
But if he wasn't there, if he Mustafa, fragile, and swore it under oath, told the magistrate he'd spoken to Mustafa himself. That line carried weight. It made the affidavit sound certain, personal, but it was a lie, and the seal on the page didn't change that. A warrant built on false words is a hollow, but if he wasn't there, if he never actually witnessed that removal, then the story he sold was a fiction.
The story that he saw is a fiction. Robert Drum created a whole entire story. That Mustafa's on drugs, that he's on meth, that he's methed out, that this is intentional, that Mustafa told him he was arguing inside the vehicle. Every single that Robert Drum and these officers put in this case is a lie. Based on the evidence. I mean, it's one thing if I was telling you, if I'm sitting here and telling you Mustafa's innocent. That's a good guy. He would never do this. I mean, it's one thing if I was sitting here telling you that. No, I've gotten the file that they've sealed, that they've hid from you. I'm releasing it on this podcast, and I'm telling you, let's look at the evidence together. Did they lie? Well, here's the evidence. That's a whole completely different conversation. That's not a fucking debate anymore. It's not a debate. We're looking at the body cam. We're looking at the document, and we're looking at the body cams. Is Mustafa on drugs? Well, here's the toxicology. Did Robert Drum lie about him not talking to Mustafa? Well, let's look at the body cam. He never talked to Mustafa. Is the warrant, the arrest warrant, falsified? Every line is falsified. Oh, that's right. The prosecution office was comfortable because the case is sealed. So they can do whatever they want. And they're going to spin it on the news. And they're going to tell you, we, the police department, have evidence that he crashed on purpose. But we're not going to release anything for you because there's a 5-year-old baby that's on the dash camera. Wait a minute. Anybody with 2 cells of a brain will tell you, wait a minute, didn't you, the prosecution office, released a dash camera? Where's the full dash camera? Well, clearly, this is an edited dash camera. Wait a minute. You're telling us that you're not going to release the dash camera. There's a 5-year-old baby on this dash camera. Oh, maybe there's something else that's going on. Well, here, I'm giving you the full file. And there isn't even a maybe anymore. No. We have the evidence that this is what they're doing. They're actually falsifying the case. They falsified the warrant, and they falsified every piece of everything that's on this case is falsified. Everywhere you looked, they falsified. And the question is, the real question is, if Mustafa is so guilty, why do you have to do so much? If Mustafa is guilty and he crashed the vehicle on purpose, why do you have to crush and stage the vehicle? If Mustafa is guilty, why do you have to edit and cut the dash camera? If Mustafa is guilty, why do you have to weaponize a 9, a 10, a 14, and a 16? If Mustafa is guilty, why do you have to falsify his statements? If Mustafa is guilty, why do you have to falsify the warrant? You're telling me he's guilty, but yet you're doing so much. And then you go on the news. When you file with Internal Affairs, what does Internal Affairs tell you? Internal Affairs puts it all over the news that they investigated and found that it's minor administrative error. That their investigator didn't do anything. Oh yeah, we looked into the recording where Robert Drum falsified Mustafa's statement. Yeah, he violated department policy, but we're not going to tell you what we've done behind closed doors. But what we're going to tell you is, yeah, he violated department policy. Violated department policy, that's the foundation of the whole entire case. There's a recording where Mustafa never said he was arguing inside the vehicle. And yet your investigator is telling us that Mustafa told him he was arguing inside the vehicle. The recording showed that Mustafa never said that. That's the foundation of the whole entire case. And you're going to tell me, oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, we looked into it. He violated department policy. But we looked at the whole thing. It's minor administrative errors. Let's listen to what they're putting on NBC4.
For tonight, there are new questions being raised in the case of a man charged with murder for a crash that killed his girlfriend and her 5-year-old daughter last year.
But we're not going to tell you that there's brake failure. We're not going to tell you that his foot was on the brake the whole entire time. We're not going to tell you that he's trying to avoid the vehicle accident by pressing the brake the whole entire time. And our police mechanic, inspected the vehicle and found brake failure. We're not going to tell you that. As a matter of fact, we're going to seal that from you.
They come after Prince William's police chief ruled the investigating officer had violated department policy. Northern Virginia Bureau Chief Julie Carey spoke to the driver's defense attorney about why he thinks the finding casts doubt on the case.
Mustafa Al-Jaziri has been behind bars for almost a year now, accused of intentionally driving his car into oncoming traffic, a crash that killed Dorothy Fontaine and her 5-year-old daughter, Empress.
Julie Carey on NBC4, I'm going to tell you, accused of intentionally causing the accident, but I'm not going to tell you. I'm going to leave out the part where the police mechanic inspected the car and found brake failure. I'm going to leave out the part where Mustafa's foot is on the brake the whole entire time. The computer inside his vehicle show that his foot is on the brake the whole entire time, trying to avoid a vehicle accident. I'm not going to tell you that on NBC4. Julie Carey with NBC4, I have to protect the police department. Not going to tell you that this is a car accident. I'm going to hide that from the community.
Initially charged with manslaughter, the charges were later upgraded to second-degree murder. Al-Jaziri's family insists the crash was an accident. The defendant's brothers filed an internal affairs complaint with the Prince William County Police, alleging the investigating officer, quote, falsified a portion of his police report to say that the couple was...
A portion? Lady, a portion? He said on the police report that Mustafa told me that he was arguing with his girlfriend inside the vehicle. A portion? That's falsifying that's the foundation of the whole entire case. I mean, a portion is like something minute, something minor, not the foundation of the whole entire case. The prosecution rests on that Mustafa is arguing with his girlfriend inside the vehicle. But they're going to go as far as falsify your statement and say, you, Mustafa, told us that you were arguing inside the vehicle. I find it interesting that Julie Carey is not telling you there's a recording that proved that Mustafa never said that. And go as far as edit the dash camera and remove the part where moments before the vehicle accident that Mustafa and Dorothy are passing back and forth a hemp cigarette. You want to tell me they're arguing inside the vehicle, but you're going to remove the cigarette? Well, obviously, who are you working for? Julie Carey with NBC4. Obviously, you're working for the police department. Who's falsifying this case?
Arguing before the crash, Al Jazeeri's brother provided a taped version of a phone conversation that contradicted portions of the written police report. Last month, the Al Jazeera family received this brief letter from Prince William Police Chief Peter Newsham reading, "The investigation revealed that Master Police Officer Drum violated department policy. Therefore, appropriate corrective action has been taken."
They didn't do anything. What have they done to this investigator? What corrective action have you taken that this investigator falsified the foundation of this case? I mean, you internal affairs have more access than I do. You don't see that he falsified the warrant? You don't see that? You don't see that he went to a magistrate and falsified a whole entire arrest warrant? Obviously you do. Oh, that's right. You're going to take this information, the recording where he falsified this police report. You're going to look at this information where he falsified the warrant, and you're going to bury it. And you're going to hide behind the prosecution who's telling Judge Carol Weimer, Your Honor, we need to seal this case because there's a 5-year-old baby that's on dash camera. We have to seal this case because of that baby, Your Honor. Obviously, that's not the reason why you're sealing the case, because you, the prosecutor, released the 5-year-old baby on dash camera on NBC4. You're sealing it because you're protecting this officer. You're protecting an officer, and you're using an officer that falsified a whole entire case. And Julie Carey is in your back pocket. She's helping you protect this officer that falsified a whole entire case.
Al Jazeera hired a new defense attorney, Blake Weiner, who tells me he specializes in police misconduct cases.
The police report talks about my client saying, "I know what happened." He didn't say that. The police report also says that they were arguing in the car. He didn't say that. These are not only these material facts and material misrepresentations, they're the foundation of the government's case.
Weiner says without the incriminating statement, there's no proof Al Jazeera crashed the car intentionally. Police will not disclose specifically what led to the finding that the investigating officer violated department policy. In a state,
they're not going to disclose it because what they've done is they've taken that information and they're protecting the officer. They sealed off the case. They're protecting the officer. They know that he falsified the warrant. And internal affairs, who you think is an agency within an agency that's going to protect and safeguard our police department. Instead, what they've done here is they're protecting the officer. And if they're protecting this officer, really let that sink in. Is this police department, is this their first time doing this? You think these officers, you think Officer Robert Drum and these officers are operating in a vacuum? No, obviously, this is standard operating procedure. And I'm not just saying that. I have other files where they've done the same exact thing in other cases. You have a prosecution that will seal off the case so you can't verify any of it. An officer that would manipulate and play around with the evidence and falsify cases. That's what's coming out of Prince William County. And that's terrifying for anybody that lives in Prince William County. Because if you can do this in this case, you can do that in any case. Nothing is safeguarding you from being next. Here they go as far as tell you have Lieutenant Jonathan Perroque, who goes as far as tell you on NBC4, the community can be rest assured the very minor administrative errors that were uncovered and addressed will now have a negative impact on the double murder charges the accused is facing in the death of a mother and her 5-year-old daughter. Minor administrative errors? How is this minor? How is what we're looking at minor? An entire warrant being falsified to you, Jonathan Perot, is minor? How so? I mean, this is why Mustafa's arrested. You're telling me that you looked at the evidence? So you're telling me that you looked at the dash camera, the body cam of the officer when the mechanic is inspecting the vehicle and found brake failure? You're looking at the computer inside Mustafa's vehicle that his foot is on the brake the whole entire time? Trying to stop the vehicle? You're telling me that Mustafa did everything he can to avoid a vehicle accident, but you're going to bury this information. According to your investigator, Mustafa cleared into the 4th lane. According to the witness, Mustafa cleared all vehicles into the 4th lane. And the SUV turned into Mustafa. There's brake failure, according to your police mechanic. So clearly Mustafa is doing everything he can to avoid a vehicle accident. And you have officers that falsified the warrant, officer that falsified his statements, officer that crushed and staged Mustafa's vehicle, officer that cut and muted Mustafa's dash camera, officers that weaponized a fucking 9-year-old. A 9, a 10, a 14, a 16. Children. Children that have been, I mean, that's, last time I checked, that's child abuse. Children in forensic interview that are talking about officers lying to them about Mustafa, weaponizing the kids against Mustafa. In one interview, the child is talking about that Mustafa, the investigator Romero is telling him that Mustafa ran away, left his 5-year-old baby and that the police could have saved that baby. They're telling, I mean, imagine telling a 14-year-old that Mustafa ran away, the police could have saved that baby, but Mustafa ran away. And if it wasn't for him running away, the police, we could have saved your baby sister. That's what they're telling that child. And then you find out, when you look through the body cams, you find out that Mustafa was in a coma. Mustafa was medevaced to the hospital. But you're lying to the children. You're weaponizing these children against Mustafa. And then you look at the Google Net videos inside the apartment, you find out it's a beautiful relationship. And Officer Jonathan Perot is telling you it's minor. Minor administrative errors. And what he's really telling you, how dare a Mustafa in our county sue us? Oh, a white mother and her baby lost their life. Oh, it's that guy that's suing us? We're going to take care of it. We have our own kind of justice system here at Prince William County. We're going to seal off the case, and we're going to flat out falsify a whole entire case, and we're going to protect these officers. We don't care that this is a car accident. It doesn't matter if Mustafa did everything he can to avoid a vehicle accident. It doesn't matter.
Statement, a spokesman writes, the community can be rest assured the very minor administrative errors that were uncovered and addressed will not have a negative impact on the double murder charges the accused is facing in the deaths of a mother and her 5-year-old daughter.
It's not going to have any impact because they're going to seal it, they're going to hide it, and no one is going to find out that their police mechanic inspected Mustafa's vehicle and found brake failure. It's not going to have any impact. Lieutenant Jonathan Perot is telling you there's not going to have any impact because we're going to hide it. We're going to hide the computer that's inside his vehicle, that his foot is on the brake the whole entire time. We're going to hide the body cam where it shows our police mechanic inspect his vehicle and find brake failure. We're going to hide the witness that says he cleared all the vehicle, made it to the 4th lane. It's not going to have a negative impact. Lieutenant Jonathan Perot is telling you it's not going to have any impact because we're going to cut his dash camera. We're going to have Officer Chad Mason cut and mute his dash camera. We're going to hide the fact that digital forensics says there is audio. We're going to make sure that investigator Robert Drum, when he goes to the magistrate and falsified the arrest warrant, we're going to make sure to seal off the warrant and the body cams so no one can verify that, hey, this warrant is falsified. So when you have Lieutenant Jonathan Perot tell you it has no negative impact on the case because they're burying the evidence. And if it wasn't for me stealing that file from the county, there is no way that we can get to the bottom of what they're doing behind closed doors in the Mustafa Al-Jazari case, because it looks good on paper. Prosecutor Sarah Sammy goes to Judge Weimer and tells him, there's a 5-year-old baby, Your Honor, that's on dash camera. We have to seal off the case because of the 5-year-old baby, Your Honor. And then turn around and release the 5-year-old baby on NBC4. Clearly, you're lying to us, and there's more to the story. Oh, you edited the dash camera? Oh, you removed the cigarette, the hemp cigarette. Oh, you're using officer that falsified a whole entire case. On the next podcast, what we're going to do, we're going to go through Exhibit 10, and we're going to continue to investigate and show that investigator Robert Drum falsified the arrest warrant. We're going to go through Exhibit 10, Exhibit 13, Exhibit 14. So we're going to have multiple segments, multiple podcasts where our focus is the arrest warrant. I want to thank everybody for being here. This is not another boring podcast. Don't forget to hit the like button, share the podcast on your Facebook. I want to thank everybody that's been supporting our platform. We have a lot of people that are supporting our platform through YouTube directly because we are monetized. And we have a lot of people that are supporting us directly through Cash App. Our Cash App is Boring Podcast. You can support us that way so we can continue to do what we do, which is very simple. Expose what this county is doing behind closed doors. I want to thank everybody for being here. This is not another boring podcast. Mustafa, through the police body cams, Judge Carol Weimer, you are under the microscope.
If any of that is posted anywhere on the internet, we're going to have problems. Whatever copies have been made of that, those need to be destroyed.
Okay.
Okay? If they get disclosed, that is going to put me in a situation where I will have to withdraw from the case.
Okay.
If you disclose that information in any way, all of it needs to be destroyed now. But if you disclose it in any way, it's going to put me in a position where I will have to withdraw from the case. If you all choose to go on the internet and try to publicize this stuff, that's going to create real problems.
Okay.
You can't do it, is what I'm telling you. You cannot do it. I will have to move to withdraw from the case.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
All right.
So make sure everybody's aware of that. Okay. If any of that is posted anywhere on the internet, we're going to have problems. Whatever copies have been made of that, those need to be destroyed.
Okay.
Okay. If they get disclosed, that is going to put me in a situation where I will have to withdraw from the case.
Okay.
If you disclose that information in any way, all of it needs to be destroyed now. But if you disclose it in any way, it's going to put me in a position where I will have to withdraw from the case. If you all choose to go on the internet and try to publicize this stuff, that's going to create real problems.
Okay.
You can't do it, is what I'm telling you. You cannot do it. I will have to move to withdraw from the case.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
All right.
So make sure everybody's aware of that. Okay. If any of that is posted anywhere on the internet, we're going to have problems. Whatever copies have been made of that, those need to be destroyed.
Okay.